Hey, what's up guys? My name is Onion Rings, and today I wanted to make a video on how to get triple 100s or maybe even double 100s if you're not quite as lucky in Destiny 2, and explain how to use D2 Armor Picker. There's a lot of videos on this already. My video, I wanted to try to make it a little bit more beginner friendly. D2 Armor Picker can be a little bit confusing at first when you use it, but let's get right into it. We're not going to clickbait it, we're not going to drag it out. Your first step, you need to go to the helm on the character that you want to get these good rolls with. Make sure you grab all of the legacy heirlooms, because what you want to be able to do is come to the helm and go to all of the seasonal vendors and be able to focus the armor. Another important step is you need to be able to, well, focus the armor. So for example, this season, for Season of the Wish, you have to do this wishful armor focusing. You just got to get one piece of all of the armor. For Season of the Deep, I believe it was the same thing. Yep. And then I think for Defiant, it was an upgrade, because this was back when we had upgrades in the table. Yep, right here, Defiant Armor Focusing. So just make sure you have all of your heirlooms, because the heirlooms are how you're going to get the engrams for the characters. You see here, I spent most of mine already, but I do have a bunch for Riven. So that is where I'm going to demonstrate, is at Riven. But I wanted you guys to make sure that step one is you need to have all of the heirlooms from all of the vendors. That was Defiance over there. This is Deeps over here. You may already have them, but if you haven't played your character yet this season, then you're going to need to go pick them up. Like, I have not played my Hunter very much this season, but the reason I'm using my Hunter for this demonstration video is because I already have builds set up on my Titan and Warlock pretty much. So I wanted to just go ahead and, oh wow, I can't even go visit Riven on my Hunter yet. So that's going to be problematic. We'll cut back to that later. First, just make sure you go and you grab all of your heirlooms for your character so that you can earn the engrams, because that's step one, is you need the engrams. You cannot focus your armor without the engrams. I would honestly just recommend to do Coil and just get the engrams through this season, Season of the Wish. However, it really doesn't hurt to come and pick up all these heirlooms, because if you're just playing the game, that's what's going to allow you to just earn the engrams for that season by just playing the game. So that's what you want to do if you want to get focused armor for any of them. So like, imagine you have like 60 Defiant engrams for some reason that you never spent, or you just have them on the back burner. You want to be able to spend those. So that's going to allow you to be able to focus armor for every season and not just Wish, because as you play the game with all those heirlooms, you're going to get engrams for all of the different seasons and be able to just focus them all and get yourself some high stat armor. Since I do not have Riven unlocked right this second, I will cut to that later. I'm going to just buy 4 engrams from Defiant and show you guys these stat rolls. Also, one very important tip, don't forget to change your ghost mod. Make sure your ghost mod is set to what you want to get more of. For example, I had the ghost mod set to resilience, and boom, look at this, a 26 resilience piece. And this piece is not the best I've seen, but it's decent, so I will keep it, because I don't have a lot of good stuff on my Hunter. And then this one's really good. There's no mobility, and as a Hunter you probably want mobility, but this would be really good for like a Warlock or a Titan. Very spiky and 2 different areas with a 61 overall. Not the best, I've seen better, but it's very good. This one is a little bit more balanced out, but you still have a plus 20. You have a 2 plus 10s, so that one's decent. And then here's basically the same as this one, except for in strength, it's in intellect. Now, keep your mind open to options. Save everything that looks like it could be decent and put it in your vault. I would really, really recommend you guys grab a whole bunch of high stat armor, and unless it's absolutely terrible, like a 27 mobility on your Warlock, to the point where you don't want that because it's just, you don't use mobility. Unless it's really bad like that, keep it, because what you could do is throw it all in your vault. Like here, you see all this different high stat armor that I have here for my Titan, and I know I have some in here for the Warlock as well. Throw it all in the vault. Look at some of these spiky things I got here. Throw all of it in the vault. Leave it in here until we get to the next step, and I will show you guys what the next step is. But this was step one. Get the heirlooms, start playing the game, get the engrams, and then fill up your vault with armor. Make sure you set your ghost mod. Go buy as much armor as you can, and then we go on to the next step using D2 Armor Picker. Alright guys, so one quick tip before we move on to the next step. When you're focusing your armor, if you just need high stat armor in basically all of your categories, then you want to click this one here, and it's just going to give you random armor. But if you need specific armor with high stats, more importantly, like say you need boots, for double the engrams, it'll be 2 instead of 1. You can click on these, and these are still high stat, minus, you know, the class item, of course, but these will still be high stat here. I can show you because I just recently did it. I made sure I had some gloves, some chests, some boots, and some helmets. I got a little bit of everything. We can use a couple more pairs of boots, so let me show you real quick. Go into your focusing, page 2. Let's just buy like 3 more pairs of boots. Go into the inventory, and look. Those are high stat. They're all over 60. Some are spiky. That right there is proof that you will get high stat. So once you have your high stat armor all ready to go, it does not have to be on your character, by the way. I've got mine on my character ready to go just for demonstration purposes. It can be in your vault. Like I said, stock your vault up. You're going to probably have more than what I have on hand. I do have some more in my vault, but most of it's here on. Put it in your vault, you know, make sure you're loaded up, ready to go before you do this. Spend as many engrams as you can. Get yourself loaded up. And remember, don't forget to be changing your ghost mod here and there. If you have enough of one type, switch it up. So now you want to decide what build you're going to do. So for this video, I'm going to do an arc staff with Star Eaters. Now, you need to make sure that you get your fragments set up, because when I show you how to use D2 Armor Picker, it's important you know what fragments you want to use. So let's see here. What do we want to go with for an arc staff build, right? So usually when I'm playing arc staff, it's because I need like some burst raid damage or something. I love the neutral game of grenades, so I'm gonna go with Spark of Shock. I'm gonna go with ions, so when that jolted target dies, I get a trace. I'm gonna go with magnitude because I like pulse grenades and that'll make them last longer. And then we're gonna go with, let's see, it doesn't really matter what we pick. I'll just grab this one just to grab it. But make sure you know the names of your fragments, and I'll show you why it's important. So the only ones you need the names of, by the way, are the ones that give you or take away a bonus. So ions and magnitude do not matter. Shock and feedback, however, do, because they either decrease or increase your stat, and you want D2 Armor Picker to calculate that. So once you have all your armor set up and you're ready to go to d2armorpicker.com, come over here, this is the main website, make sure you log in, get your accounts all linked up and everything, and once you do, it should be able to find your characters, find all the armor pieces you have. You notice I have way more armor pieces on my Titan because I made Titan. So then you want to click on your character, and so there's 2 ways you can use D2 Armor Picker, okay? If you know exactly what build you want to use, I'm going to show you that first. If you know exactly what you're doing, like we know I'm doing Star Eaters, and if we scroll down here, so first off, let me show you some of the settings here. Over here is where you're going to select what stats you want. If it's white, it means it's possible. If it goes gray, it's not possible with the amount of armor that you have in your loadout. So if I wanted 100 strength and 100 resil, that's possible. It found some options for me. So you can click your options here, but you can also randomize it. If you don't care what your 100s are, then you can leave this unchecked, and we'll get to how it can randomly pick on its own later. Let's move on. So make sure you have no extra logic fast. Add mods to reduce wasted stats. You definitely want to click on this, because what it's going to do is it's going to put mods in your gear. You want it to do that unless you do not want to use class mods, or not class mods, but like stat bumping mods. But here's the thing, if you don't use those, it's gonna probably be really difficult to get triple 100s, let alone doubles. You really want to allow those, so I'd leave that checked. This is all your exotics where you select them here. And a little bit of note, if you have multiple roles of an exotic, when you click on that exotic and you come over here to one of the options, make sure you hover over the exotic and look at the role. You see, if you hover over it, look at the role. Pay attention to that, because Armor Picker will not always equip the role it wants you to have. I had that happen to me once where it recommended a different exotic, then it equipped a completely different one. And I was like, what's going on with my build? Why are these numbers not adding up? It's because they wanted me to use a different one that they didn't equip. We'll get into that more later, but just make sure you pay attention after you get your role, that you pay attention what exotic it's got you wearing, if you have multiple ones. But let's close out of this for now. Continue on the left. You want to include exotic collection roles. That way, if you don't have a random role of the exotic you want, then check that box, and it's going to still choose the exotic for you. Of course, it's going to come from collection. So collection exotics suck. They're like 48. Really don't want to use them if you can avoid it. Try to get to role, get a random role of the exotic you want, preferably with the stats you want. But even if you can't get it with the stats you want, a random role is better than the book. The collection book exotics are suspect. sucky. And then also make sure you check this one where it allows legendary and exotic vendor armor. This one, I don't know if I can demonstrate it to you or not, but look how you see the source. So sometimes when you set up a build with D2 Armor Picker, you're gonna realize that it's recommending to you a piece of gear you don't have. Right here, perfect example. If I were to go with this option on the screen right now, it wants me to go to 801 and pick up this chest piece she has for sale. That is what this box does. I would recommend you leave it checked, because if you're going for a specific loadout that you want and you don't already have the armor available to you, it may recommend armor from a vendor that the vendor has. And if it does, go grab that armor. Now, this is only a 53 stat roll, but it's spiky in 2 different areas, so that's still decent. So if you need it, go get it. But if you don't want to buy any armor, uncheck that box. And then over here, I don't know what this is. I've never needed this. I think it's to limit how much energy you might want to spend on your mods. If you need this, feel free to use it. I don't use it. I don't need it. And then this is the important part down here. You have to select these. You need to make sure that these work. So we know that we're doing art. Which 2 did we choose? We chose shock and feedback. Again, it only matters the ones that are either a negative or a plus to your stats. So shock and feedback, because you want to tell Armor Picker, like, hey, I'm losing some stats here, but I'm gaining some here, but in different categories. It's going to help it pick your build better. Most of these down here you will not need to touch, but make sure you disable the enforce the usage of Festival of the Lost Mask, because those do not have any power. They are at 0 power when Festival of the Lost is not around. You do not want to use this. Your build will not work in endgame activity because it's going to lower your power. And then make sure all of this is checked here, because this is going to make sure that your armor is masterwork. Now, if you cannot afford to masterwork your armor, then I suppose you can uncheck these, and then D2 Armor Picker will calculate that in that maybe you can't masterwork your boots, so you're not going to get that +2 bonus on your boots, and then it'll try to work around that. But definitely try to masterwork your armor if you can. So now that we have our fragments selected, let's select our stats. Now, I'm a PvE main. I obviously want to have 100 resilience right off the bat. And because this is a build using my super with Star Eater scales, I want 100 intellect too. Now, unfortunately, with my hunter, I don't have a lot of high stat armor. So this is where it's going to end here for me, is double 100s. I can't get triple 100s on my hunter, but that's okay. I just wanted to show you guys how to use this website. Now, after you have your 2 100 selected, again, remember the gray means it's not possible. It's not possible for me to have this. So it's not going to even let me click it. However, I do have some other options here that I could do. What I'm going to do is 6 on the discipline. Now you notice some of these went down because now I'm running lower on options on what I can do. We're going to do 5 on the mobility, and then we should be able to do 2 on both of those. So this is what I can come up with on my hunter right now with the Star Eaters that I have and the armor that I have available in my vault and in my inventory. I can come up with a 5, 10, 2, 6, 10, 2. So here's what you want to do. You're going to come over here and you're going to look at these options here. Now, these are going to be very close to what you want. If there's more than one option, they're going to be very close to what you want. They just might be slightly different, and they may change in the mod. Usually 9 out of 10 times the one on the top is the best. So if you like what you see here, you're going to click on equip items beta. Now sometimes this straight up just doesn't work. It will not pull the armor G. Like right now, it could not pull my Star Eaters to me because probably I don't have room in my inventory. If there's a green check mark, it was moved and equipped to you. If there's a red, then what you want to do, look at the armor, look at the stats, and then go find it. Where is it? Mine, likely in my vault. So everything else should have been equipped to me already though. Let's see. Yep. So it equipped this new chest piece for me. Obviously it has no mods on or anything because I've never used it. It's just an 1800 that I got from Riven. And then these I already had, so they're already obviously modded up, ready to go. And then I need to go find my Star Eaters. All right, I got my Star Eaters. So the next step is to go ahead and equip those. And then what you want to do is clear out all your gear, because some of this gear might be from an old build or an old loadout that you already have. Clear out all of your mods so you get a clean slate, and then make sure all of your armor is maxed, masterwork it all the way up to 10. Again, if you cannot afford this, make sure you uncheck the option all the way at the bottom of D2 Armor Picker so that it does not assume your armor is masterwork. Masterworking, if you're new to the game, don't know, it literally gives you +2 to every stat while it's equipped. So if I look at this chest piece from the inventory, you see the yellow or it might be green, I'm colorblind, but you see the extra stat bump? That's from it being masterwork. It's just +2 to every single stat, and that's on all of your armor. So that adds up, 2, 4, 6, 8. That adds up, that's for every stat. Once you get your clean slate, you wanna go back to Armor Picker and see what mods it wants you to have. So for me, I need 1 resilience, 2 discipline, and 2 intellect. So we're gonna do that. 1 resilience, 2 discipline, 2 intellect. And you could put these wherever you want. Since they cost different depending on the mod, put these where you can still afford to put your mods on. So because like intellect and resilience and even recovery all cost 4 energy, you may need to move them around to a piece of armor that you don't usually put other mods on as much. It's just work around it, make it work. You can move them around if you need. For me, I don't think it matters based on what I'm gonna go for. But anyway, look at that. We got our stats. This is what D2 Armor Picker said we'd come up with. That's what we came up with. And it's quite literally as simple as that. You set up your fragments, go into D2 Armor Picker, tell it what you want. It'll pick armor from your vault, even pick stuff out of your postmaster. It'll grab it out, tell you what you can throw together, and boom, there you go. Then you're gonna set up the mods you want, like whatever you want in your armor. You know, if you're following a build guide, then go with that. Or if it's something that you already know what you want, throw it in there, and there you go. Now, one more thing I want to show you before we end out. I'll show you how to do a random build. So make sure you're still on the class that you want. Deselect the exotic. Here's what you want to do. If you want to do a random build, like you don't care what exotic it uses, but you just want to try to get high stats, click on what you want to be high stat. Now for me, let's just see if there are any options for me to get triples. I don't know. I do not play Hunter a lot, so I may not have any options. Oh, I do. I could do, hang on, let me see if there's anything else first. No, it looks like my only option is going to be, if I wanted triples, I would go with resilience, intellect, and recovery, and I would have to use the lucky raspberry. So you select the stats you want and then leave the exotic on random, and this will straight up tell you what your possibilities are, and there may quite literally only be one. When I do this on my Titan, I get more options because I have way more armor on my Titan. But with what I have on my Hunter, this is the only option I have for these triple 100s right here. And you may not even be able to select the triple 100s you want. Like, say you want resilience, intellect, and discipline. If it's not white, it is not possible with the armor that you have. You will have to just deal with what you can get until you get more armor. But anyway, once you've got your random build set up, it goes the same way from here, where you click equip items beta, let it equip what it wants you to have equipped, put in your mods, and there you go. You now have your random build set up. Now, unfortunately, because it's a random build, it may not be what you want. But this is a way to kind of see what's possible with your character. So here, for example, let's click on my Titan. Let's see what's possible on my Titan. Let's see, put on a random exotic. Say I wanted 100 resilience. Hang on, it's gonna need to update for a minute. Sometimes it'll do this when you're switching characters. Let's say I wanted 100 resilience, 100 discipline, and I guess my only option is 100 strength or 100 recovery. All right, so if I wanted those 3, these are all my options for my Titan. You can scroll through these. You can see there are some repeats because again, remember, it changes up the mods on you. So there's going to be repeats, like there's multiple Abyssant Leaps in here, or Abeyant Leaps, there's multiple Dune Marches, whatever. But scroll through here, look at the different exotic options, and then ask yourself, all right, well, what sounds fun, right? So let's scroll through here. Maybe you want to play Strand, maybe you want to do a Suspend build with Abeyant Leaps. Oh, well, maybe you want a Path of the Burning Steps build. There you go. There's a Path build right in there. Let's just keep looking. There's a lot of Antaeus Wars. There's even a Hollow Fire in here. There's a Worm God. Maybe you want to do a Worm God. Who knows, you know? But that's probably not a good idea with these stats, because with Worm God, you probably want tier 10 strength, but it is an option. I'm just showing you guys the options you can come up with. I have a lot of Antaeus options. More Hollow Fires. There's some more Worm Gods down here. This is just showing you, again, your options that you can get with your stats. If it's not what you want, you just need to get more armor. It's as simple as that. Get more armor, get more options. Armor Picker will comb through your entire vault. It will comb through your inventory, your postmaster. It will comb through everything to try and pick you the best possible build it can. And based on my Titan, if I want triple 100s with strength and resilience, my only third option is recovery. Or you can also do this. Oh wait, hold on, wait, I also forgot here. We forgot to uncheck our fragments. That's a very important part I forgot. I'm very sorry for that. When you're doing a random build, make sure you uncheck any fragments, because you don't want the game to think you're on that subclass yet, because you're not yet, right? You haven't picked a subclass yet. You're doing random. So uncheck it and then see what your options are. But say I wanted to do 100 resilience and I want 100 discipline. Well, unfortunately, I can't do triple 100 unless This is exactly what I had to do for my Titan, right? I can show you guys a little trick, okay? This is what I had to do for my Titan. I wanted resilience, discipline, and intellect all at 100 for my Titan. But look, you don't see that as an option, do you? Here's a little trick you can do. All right, now I'm back on my Titan, and let me show you that little trick. So you saw D2 Armor Picker said that with my loadout that I chose, triple 100s was not possible. But here I am. I've got triple 100. So how did I do it, you ask? I changed the frag straight up. The build that it wanted me to have with the fragments I had selected was not going to allow me to have triple 100s. I could have 100 Resil, 100 intellect, but only 90 discipline, because it had me with a plus 10 intellect in every single armor piece except for one. So I had 4 intellects, and that took me to 100, 190. So here's what I did. I thought to myself, well, if I can remove one of those intellect mods from my armor, I can then put a discipline mod. So this is what it looked like. There was a remove you, put you there, and then I didn't have this fragment on. So boom, this is what it looked like. This was my option, because I had no armor slots left to put a stat, and I was like, well, what can I do? And that's when I came up with the idea, well, if I can remove an intellect and put a discipline instead, well, now I need more intellect. Well, what can I do? I ended up changing one of my fragments. I was running, I believe, Soulless, but I realized that I didn't really need it for this build, so I slapped on Beams. Beams gives you plus 10 intellect. Now, is Beams the best fragment ever? Not really. Does it complement this build to the best? Nah, not really. It helps a little. This is my Pyrogale build, and it helps guide the tornadoes that come out of the Pyrogales a little bit better toward the enemies so they're not as random, but it's not the best. But it got me my triple 100s that I wanted, and I did the same exact thing with my Phoenix Cradle build. My Phoenix Cradle build was the exact same way, where I could only get 90 on the intellect, or on the discipline. So I did the same thing. I switched out some stats, and I put on Beams, because Beams will help me throw my hammers a little bit more accurately. Again, that's not necessary. Hammers are pretty accurate as it is, but it got me my triple 100. Now, this may not be an option for everyone. It was an option for me because I was so close to already having triple 100s. I was this close that all it took for me was to shift a frag. That may not work for you guys. Worked for me. Figured I'd put it in the video, give you a little bit of a tip. This is how easy it is to set up amazing builds with D2 Armor Picker in Destiny 2. Please give it a try. Spend your engrams. Get your random rolled armor. Look at these spiky armor pieces, guys. Look at this. You can get some really good things from these vendors. Look at some of this armor that I have. Look at that. With the strength mod in there, it's almost at 40 strength. This is insane. 32 intellect on these with just a Resil mod. That's crazy good. Get yourself some options. Buy some random armor. Get yourself a build set up. Oh, one last tip. Don't forget to save your loadout.